SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. The wait is over.
Let's get this thing started.
Go! Welcome, one and all across the nation and around the world. I welcome you all to episode 109, In or Out Sports Debate. I am your host, Drew Willingham. We are back for another great edition. 109 is about to be in the books. We got a returning panelist. We also have a new one for this special edition who's ready to bring the heat. Introducing first, he is a one-time Vault of Fame inductee, coming back for the second time, for the first time in quite some time. We have quite a bit to talk about tonight. This man, quite a bit of an Eagles fan for quite some time, a lifelong fan of them, as well as a wrestling fan, which him and his counterpart that are here tonight. I also talk a little wrestling with them on their show, the Monarchs of Wrestling. Give it up from the Play Caller Sports Talk and many other brands as well. Cool McCain, welcome back to the show there, brother.
Let's go.
He's ready to rock. He's ready to rock in the dining room setup, ready to rock. And his counterpart has a special intro from another EP of all EPs that we all know and said and gave me special permission earlier on Total Football Talk to use it. And let's introduce him properly.
Now, forgive me not knowing the brother. You got your mic black. I don't know who the hell you are. It's like you're in the broadcasting witness protection program.
That's right. We have the Playmaker in the house. Welcome to the show there, brother.
When I see Coach Johnson. Just know when I see Coach Johnson.
Playmaker is already steaming, ready to rock and roll. He's ready to bring the fire.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what Drew was thinking, but he decided to bring the Monarchs to this episode. I don't know what he was thinking. He brought the Monarchs. This is going to be different.
Okay, I'm down. As long as we stay within the original foundation, I'm down to hear whatever fire y'all gotta be spitting. I've been waiting for this ever since we got up and decided to make this thing happen for 109. But I greatly appreciate you guys taking the time to be here for 109. And as we do with everything else, when we get started with each and every episode, we have to acknowledge the Vault of Fame.
Acknowledge me.
Man, you took me back. This is why this show was so important, and this is why I am personally validating and vouching for this show. If you are anybody in media, sports, professional wrestling, anything, you need to be on In or Out Sports Debate with my man Drew Willingham, because this has got to be one of the most fun things I've ever done in a long time.
That right there is the NRL Sports Debate Vault of Fame, which you can find this show right here on these audio platforms to listen to shortly after this live broadcast has completed, as well as on these platforms on Facebook, Instagram. Got to update that from Twitter to X. And, of course, the YouTube channel, which you are most likely watching this on now or after it is live. But we have 5 great topics to go through tonight. That is with the Playmaker himself and the returning Cool McCain for this trios edition of the In or Out Sports Debate, episode 109, brought to you by SIRTOBA Media. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and take this into round 1 and see what we got in store to talk about for that first round.
Round 1.
And here for round 1, Bronny James is making a mistake by remaining in the 2024 NBA draft. Start this one off with Cool McCain there, sir. How do you feel about this topic at hand? Are you in or are you out on this one?
I'm all the way in, sir. I'm double in, triple in, quadruple in.
Bronny
didn't do enough. Got ahead of myself. My bad, y'all. Bronny, that's what happens when you have to wait so long to get back on. Bronny is in a situation where I think another year or two of college would have helped him. Do I think he has the ability to do it? Absolutely. It's not ability-based, my concern. My concern is based more on what he showed us last year and him really having an opportunity to gain some confidence and show a better version of himself on a collegiate level before he moves to the next level. I believe he belongs in the NBA at some point because his immeasurables are there, but he hasn't shown enough to really be at that level as of yet, in my opinion.
Great, well, very well said. And my apologies for the delay in bringing you back on the show. Remember, the show was defunct for like almost 6 months. I had to take a break. You see how I know I'm giving you a hard time too. Look at all the love I put into this mother father right here. So yeah, we're out here having fun out here in these streets. But nah, I'm glad that you are back here, and I will definitely get some more throughout 2024. But with that being said, great take. And you know, Playmaker, do you agree with him? Are you going to go in or are you going to go out on this one?
I'm in. See, I'm in for a different reason. You know, look, Bronny James, you know, you can look at the stats, 4.8 points a game, you know, only playing less than 20 minutes a game. But what most people don't forget to mention, the man had a cardiac arrest and didn't have the opportunity to be with his team out in USC during preseason. And he didn't get to the play till like halfway through the season. So my thinking is go back for one more year, get a full off-season workout, training camp, all that stuff with USC and college, and then let us see what you can do, and then we can go from there. But he made his choice. He wants to stay in the NBA, and honestly, I can't fault him for that.
Yeah, you guys definitely bring great points to that, and you know, not because of the hatred towards bronzesexuals or anything, but I do have to agree with you guys and the fact that he should stay in college for another year. I'm in. You know, I get the reason why he wants to go, you know, not just to have the potential opportunity to play with his father at some point, but you have better health care in the NBA. You know, they have better healthcare options than you do in college. Not to completely down where he's at, because he was at USC, which does have pretty great medical care in that area when you consider everything around him, but not to the quality of what he would have in the NBA. So when I put all that in perspective, I understand that part and I understand why he wants to go. But as far as his development at 19 years old and what he has accomplished at this point, which isn't really much, his stats are pretty low. He's definitely not going in the first round. Be lucky to go in the second round. Be lucky not to just be like kind of like a player like what, not to try to compare him to him, but like LiAngelo Ball back in the day, you end up having to just sign with the G League and go undrafted. I mean, that's a potential opportunity out there too. So just because there's all this hype around him doesn't mean he's going to get drafted to begin with. So I feel like had he stayed in college one more year, maybe actually transfer, because he did enter the transfer portal, and go somewhere that would utilize him a little bit better, maybe somewhere that had a little bit better of a healthcare facility if you had some type of issue with USC's medical staff, I would understand that you would want to go somewhere else then and try to further your stock for the following year, because I still don't see LeBron retiring after this upcoming season. I think he's got 2, maybe 3 left in him, because he wants to definitely do his best to cement himself as the greatest of all time, since there are people out there like myself and you guys too who would debate that, with other ones who feel like they're your GOAT, or you may agree that LeBron is yours, but he is definitely not mine. But when it comes to his son, I feel like he is making a mistake here. I feel like he should remain in college for at least 1 more year, not because he's LeBron's son and because he's going to take a dive because of that potentially, but because he needs to further develop his skills. And I think that he would get more playing time and more quality development in another year system in college than potentially playing in the G League and getting called up a little bit too soon. So I agree definitely wholeheartedly with what you guys have to say with that when it comes to round 1. And looks like we got some comments in here too. Sick Diggy's in the house saying, ladies and gentlemen, prepare for the wildest Extreme Rules triple threat match on this of the Atlantic Ocean. Triple match on this of the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. I'm picking up what you're throwing down there, Sick. All right, yeah, we got the triple threat match out here. As you saw with the trios moving graphic right here, it is myself, Cool McCain, and the one known as the Playmaker tonight. Your comments definitely are appreciated. Keep them coming, because we got plenty more to talk about out here in these streams. He also says, fortunately, I'm on the other side, and it's 3:10 a.m. Central European time. We appreciate you hanging out late, getting your late night fix of shenanigans with sports mixed in. The in or out sports debate is brought to you by Sleazeball Meaty Subs. Don't beat the meat. Don't toss a salad. Just enjoy the subs, he says. And Hard Smack Thirst Quencher. It doesn't taste great. It's hard. Smacking good. Ike doesn't give a fuck is in the house. Says, what's up, fellas, with a Z. And says, what's up, Diggy? Throws up the shocker. We got Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. Hey, everyone. Happy Monday. Well, happy Monday to you too, there, sir. Thank you for tuning in and joining in over there. Looks like through the Play Caller Sports Talk. We appreciate you tuning in to tonight's action. And Sick Diggy meant to say on this side of the Atlantic Ocean. That's what kept throwing me a curveball. Was the way it was written. So
the fact said Diggy is still going in after 3 in the morning.
Yeah, I ain't even mad at him.
Six a trooper. No, I'm joshing him a little bit. No, Six a trooper. He's out here 3:10 a.m. He's kind of working on my time because I'm up that time. So I work crazy hours with my job. So I feel you. So we definitely get it when it comes to being a night owl out here in these streams. With that being said, we've gone through round 1. It's time to heat it up a little bit. Take it into round 2 and see what we got in store for that one.
Round 2.
Here with round 2, running back Blake Corum will become a total steal for the LA Rams this upcoming season and beyond. How do you feel about this one there, Playmaker, when it comes to this one? We'll lead this one off with you since it's your team and the one that you cover very, very well out here. You can definitely check out his coverage on the Playmaker Sports blog. But definitely, what's your thought when it comes to this? Are you in or are you out on this one?
I'm out.
Tell him.
For those who don't know, I am a Los Angeles Rams fan. I cover the Rams on the show called Ramley Talk. Great that we drafted Blake Corum. Nice 1-2 punch to be in the backfield with Karen Williams. Here's the thing. He just gonna be another added piece. Well, he'll have his touches. He'll be able to do some things. But when it comes down to it, Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. So with those 3 being the main for the offense of the Los Angeles Rams, other rookies that was drafted will have more opportunities to be more dynamic on the teams that they were drafted with. Don't get me wrong. Blake Corum, he's going to have his moments. I believe in the talent. I love what I saw in Michigan. But he will not be the focal point. He won't have as many opportunities to showcase and dominate the league like some other rookies may have.
Okay. What do you think, Cool? You agree with Playmaker? You're going to go out on Blake Corum being a potential steal for the Rams?
I'm actually going to go in. The main focal point of why I'm going in is the last words that D. Willie uttered this year and beyond. If we were talking about just this year, Playmaker to me is completely accurate. But I think over time we're going to see, and unfortunately, running back is a position where you're going to have an injury, you know, at some point. I think Kyle Williams may miss a couple of games at some point this year, next year. Corum gets a chance to get in and kind of really show what he is. And he doesn't necessarily have to be the starter, but if he can be a significant piece, I recall Corum having, you know, decent hands as well. So he's somebody that Matthew Stafford can target out of the backfield as well. So I think Corum is going to have an opportunity to be a steal for the Rams, not necessarily as a number one back, but as a guy who can slide in to be your number two and possibly your 1A when needed. And I think that he was prepared for this, and he's going to step in and he's going to do the role to the best of his ability. And he's going to be very successful at it. So I'm in on him as a steal for the Rams.
Okay. You know, I like how we're starting this round out with the two of you disagreeing with one another to where now it comes down to this. It comes down to this on what I'm going to pick. And for the first time in the history of the In-Or-Out Sports Debate, in his first appearance on this show, the Playmaker and I disagree. As I am going to agree with Cool McCain, I am going to go in. Playmaker, you come up here on my show and set me up for this one. I love it. This is great. You said you were fired up. You're talking to the king of promos up in this motherfather, all right? The one who was just gifted with this beautiful, big, sexy championship right here that you guys are a part of because you've been here on the In-Or-Out Sports Debate, so you're definitely part of this championship. But when it comes to this, there's a reason why this is a custom belt for yours truly, D. Willie. You see the burgundy. You see up here in the center plate, you see SIRTOBA, and around it a bunch of different little microphones. We'll show the picture here in a little bit, but that has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now when you have the king of promos up here with this belt on his shoulder. And why am I going into promo mode? I'll tell you why. Cool McCain brings a lot of great points to the table. You can't forget about this guy being a college football national champion. You can't forget about my trick wording there at the end when I introduced this topic right here that said this season and beyond and beyond. Slid right up on in there. That's shenanigans for you right here for sports talk right here. That's ingenious action. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm holding the belt, so I got to represent very, very well up here. But what we're going to talk about is Blake Corum. We're talking about his college football career that leads up to this point to where he is a highly touted rookie at this point, okay? In 2020, he didn't really do anything. He was a little quiet out there. Only had 26 attempts for 77 yards. It was COVID. Give the man a break. It was his first season. Okay, 2021, he bounced back. He went from playing in 6 games in 2020 to playing in 12. Had 144 attempts for 952 yards, averaging 6.6 yards per carry. And when you put all that in perspective, you add his touchdowns that he had on the ground, 11. Along with receiving, he had 24 receptions for 141 yards. And no, that's not that great, but he also had a touchdown there. He also did kick returns, 12 returns, 304 yards, averaging 25.3 yards per return. And he did that. That was the most he did in one season because he stepped away from kick returns after that. For 2022 and 2023, he only played in 12 games again in 2022, but he had 1,463 yards with 18 touchdowns on the ground to add 11 receptions for 80 yards and a touchdown for 19 total touchdowns on the year. But 2023, the year before he was drafted, he has the breakout year on the ground. He has 15 games he plays in. 258 total attempts at rushing. His numbers as far as overall yardage did take a bit of a dive, but kind of like what you said, with the Rams, they have a lot of pieces around them. So with the Michigan Wolverines, they had the same thing. So they were spreading the ball out a little bit more. They weren't necessarily focusing on Corum. They were focusing more on team ball to get themselves the actual championship this year that they needed to solidify themselves as a great team in college football history. He had 27 total touchdowns on the ground. That was his best statistics for the year on the ground with touchdowns. And with receiving, he had 16 receptions for 117 yards, another touchdown. So every year from 2021 on, he had at least a receiving touchdown. And he has 29 plus 27, the man right there, 56 total rushing touchdowns in those 3 years, 58 for his career. You mean to tell me that he's not going to fit in pretty well and get some action, and they're not going to try to mix it up, have a potential decent two-back system, try to have more decoys out there? Because with that, he could definitely fit in really well to give more real quality looks to Cooper Kupp and the other ones that you mentioned on that offense. So for that, that's a reason why I'm going to disagree on this one and why I had to go inside with Cool McCain. Do you have a rebuttal for said topic?
I mean, we was talking about Sean McVay here, who wants to be Boy Genius. They really Cool McCain. Y'all heard me on Ramblin' Talk. How many times have I had to come on the show and actually get at Sean McVay for not running the football?
So now with that, he has no excuse to not establish more of the run.
You can say that, but I know my coach.
I mean, I feel
he loves outthinking people when you don't even have to.
But you can't say that you wouldn't be surprised if, like, say, this time next year we're looking back on it and he did, change his style up a little bit to where he did incorporate an additional run.
I would love for him to do that.
I know. That's why I was thinking that you might pick that he could potentially be a steal. But I also see your point. If McVay is stuck in his ways, if he's stuck and doesn't incorporate the running back core the way that we would think that he should, now having all these weapons, then I would agree with you when we get back to this, 6 to 8 months from now, after we've seen what this season is going to be about. So, but you got to admit, that was one hell of a promo I started off with. Talking about the fire. Your boy's always sitting up here at the top burn on his show, ready to rock and roll with the fire.
Yeah, that's because the one thing you messed up, you should never put that on there, and I already knew which way you was going to go. So I went that way on purpose.
Oh, you thought you knew Cool was going to go that way?
Oh, no, I knew you was going to go in.
Oh, okay.
I knew exactly what you were going to pick.
So you pulled a Corey man up on this show. You did that on purpose to get me cooked.
Drink.
I sure did.
Yeah, you did.
I knew exactly. I was like, okay, he's going to say in. So I know which way I'm going to go. Because I can make an argument for that side too.
Well played, sir. My hat is off to you if I had one on. Subscribe now, never miss out on new content, says Stream Elements. Definitely do that if you're watching on, whether you're watching on the Play Caller Sports Talk right now, or if you're watching this on SIRTOBA Media's YouTube channel. Please do that to hook us up out here in these streams. It's 3:35 a.m. currently, and I'm more of a night owl. Unfortunately, now that it's summer, we only get 4 to 6 hours of darkness. So Sick is pretty much enjoying, while it's cooled off, while it's dark out there, which is, I don't know how it is over there in Norway if you are if it's hot a lot during the day or whatnot, and then the 4 to 6 hours like the best time at this point of the year. I mean, it's only June 3rd. It's already cooking over there. It's going to be one hot summer, my man. One hot summer out here in these streets for you. It comes to that. I hope not, because I don't want it to be that hot for you. I want to enjoy the summer if possible. Sick Diggy says, what's good? Ike doesn't give a fuck, and Ike apparently doesn't give a fuck because he hasn't responded in 6 minutes since he said it. So Ike, if you're listening, hook him up out here in these streams. But guys, we've gone through the first 2 rounds. I gotta say, very, very impressed with you guys with coming in hot, and definitely, Playmaker setting me up to cook on that one. I appreciate that. They got the blood flowing, the juice is running. I'm ready to run wild like Hulkamania after this first commercial break when we come on back. And we'll see you guys here on the other side of that one.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, and other podcast outlets.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, look. Hey, stop playing games. Y'all already know. Go ahead and toss him some Willie bucks. Ain't nobody playing around. Hey, $ DWillie87. Go ahead, hit him up on the Cash App, and go ahead and give him some Willie bucks. Look at Drew looking stoic, ladies and gentlemen. Stoic on that $10 bill. So go ahead, slide my man over some Willie bucks, and we good. That's all I'm saying. We good. How about some Willie bucks?
Drew Willingham.
In this case, yeah, you put the blame on Kyle Shanahan for apparently not preparing the team enough for the overtime rules, supposedly.
Cole Johnson.
Peyton was considered a winner, and he was the darling of all darlings for Gerald.
With a special appearance by Tyrone Alizé McDummy.
Ain't nobody calling me. Text delete.
Join these two football enthusiasts as they give you Total Football Talk. Live every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central on the SIRTOBA Media and the Comey Media YouTube channels.
Welcome back to episode 109 of the In or Out Sports Debate. Myself, along with Cole McCain and the Playmaker himself, Darnell Sallins, back here after the first two rounds. We've got three more to go. We've got some more basketball, got some more other sports-related topics in the mix as well. And with that being said, let's go ahead and hit this into round three.
Round 3.
Here with round three, Kristaps Porziņģis' return for the NBA Finals will hurt the Celtics' momentum. Go ahead and start this one off with Cool McCain there, sir. How do you feel about this one? Do you agree with this topic at hand? Are you in or are you out on this one?
I am out on this one, and I'll tell you why.
There it is.
It's very simple. I'll tell you why. Boston has won a couple of games convincingly and a lot of like last second wins, playing teams with injured players. These things are true, right? The other side, they've had some easy goes too, but we're talking about Boston. So my thing with Boston is having Porziņģis back, probably not playing full-time minutes, right? Because he's just coming off. He doesn't have his win and conditioning. But him being able to get in 10, 15 minutes or so a game, maybe change the way they can play defense in the game. Change some of the things like they can do. Another shooter that you can bring in, a guy that can shoot from the 4 position or the 5 position, depending on where you're playing him at. But he can also get inside, get some rebounds, change some shots from guys that are coming in the lane, getting real easy shots right now. And that's one of the places where Luke and Kyrie and a lot of those guys excel, is getting to the hole and having these easy areas. So my thing is, this is an opportunity to get a guy that can help with that. On top of that, you have an ancient Al Horford who is playing well. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say Al Horford's game is dropped or anything like that. But you have an ancient Al Horford who now you have Porziņģis who can hop in and take some of those minutes, so we can get a little bit fresher Uncle Al for this series. And you can also play them together at times and have a bigger lineup to combat some of the things that Dallas may want to do. So I think this will be a win as long as it's not more than about 15, maybe 20 minutes, depending on how he's feeling in these games. I am definitely out because he can help them.
I like that one there. They're cool. Definitely a great take on that. The interwebs got me with the mute button, I guess, with that one for a second. But when it comes to that, do you agree with this this take there, Playmaker? Are you going to be out or are you going to go against it, go in?
I'm out. I mean, let's really think about it. Yes, he's coming off a calf strain, and you want to take your time with it. But he could have been back for the last series if he wanted to. But Boston said, we can take care of this, finish it off, you get the extra day's rest. Boston needs Kristaps Porziņģis to win the NBA championship. Plain and simple. If Kristaps Porziņģis is not back for them and playing, Dallas, led by Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, will beat them. And also to think about it, just for my media and people who like the storylines of the NBA Finals, even though a lot of people want to focus on Kyrie Irving playing against Boston, don't forget, Kristaps Porziņģis was a teammate of Luka Doncic. So it's not only Kyrie going back to face Boston, but it's Kristaps Porziņģis going back to face Dallas. And what better way for Kristaps Porziņģis to come back and then to face a former team of his with everything on the line?
Very, very true. Very, very true. You guys have some very solid takes. And the important thing for this show is that we note is that I don't choose who wins or lose these rounds. The people do in the comments. They let us know how they feel based on their response. Basically depend on who wins in their eyes. And it's time that I disagree again, but this time I'm going to be disagreeing all by myself. And I'm just fine with that. I'm in. You guys bring up really good points, especially Playmaker, about how the Celtics need Kristaps Porziņģis to win this championship, right? Well, I'm sorry, but he's a little banged up out here in these streets. Now he's going to be back on the court. Rushed in maybe a little too soon. Basketball full of cardio. You're running up and down that court. Very physical game at certain moments too, even though it's a little bit softer than it used to be, which is why we give LeBron a hard time about these inflated statistics because he's had an easier game to play, but we'll save that debate for another day. Maybe we can have a bonus round before the end of this show. Maybe, who knows? We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But right now, in this topic alone with Kristaps Porziņģis, it's making $60 million between this season and next season. It's a lot of money. The reason why I say that is I feel like they may be rushing him back on the court a little bit too soon. You need him to win that championship. But what if rushing him back on the court too soon further elevates that injury to where it's a little bit worse than what it is? Makes it worse. It makes it even longer recovery time, even though they do have a decent offseason. But we got to remember, it seems like basketball's offseason is much shorter than the others. Between baseball, football, and basketball, when you compare all the offseason stuff, they don't really get as much downtime to recover. And you're playing at the last possible series in the NBA Finals here in June. A few months later from now, we're going to be turning around, getting ready for them to start the season in October. So looking at all this as a whole, I'm thinking they may be rushing him back because, one, the salary that he's taking on between this year and next year and what he's cost them so far, but also they got in the back of their mind that he's the biggest reason why they're in the NBA Finals to begin with, the way he's played this year and being a complimentary piece to everybody around him. Definitely the Mavericks miss him, but to kind of show that they can do this without him definitely is a big testament to the Mavericks. And I think that he, when it comes to pride and it comes to ego, might be willing himself out there a little bit more to kind of stick it to the Mavericks, to at least say, to not have an excuse that if they do win, it wasn't because he missed time in the NBA Finals. It can be more on the shoulders of, well, he was hurt. And that's when we can look back on this and say that if the Celtics lose this series, did it hurt the momentum by rushing them back too soon? And that's how I feel. That's how I disagree. And that is how I'm going to leave it at that. What do you guys have to say in response to that?
Like Playmaker said, he could have came back last series, but they actually held him out to give him more time. And you play it by ear. You put him out there, you see how he plays. If he's saying he's feeling uncomfortable, he's feeling like he needs to sit, you take him out. If he can play, then you play him. You don't start him. Like AP said in the comments, you have him come off the bench, you have him work his way in. You don't have to give him 15 minutes the first game, maybe 5 or 10. Just, get him out there, see how he feels. I think they got to understand this is a long-term investment. So if he's really still hurt and can't play, I don't think we see him in the finals much. And I don't want to agree with Playmaker. I think they can still win it without him, but I think it's a lot easier to do so if they have him at least 15, 20 minutes by the end of the series.
I mean, you guys bring solid points. What do you think, Playmaker? You got anything to add to put the cherry on top for Cool?
He got hurt in round 1 against the Miami Heat. Boston took them out in 5. Missed the whole entire series with Cleveland Cavaliers. Took them out in 5. Didn't play against the Indiana Pacers, even though he could have came back the first trip to Indianapolis. Didn't happen. Boston took him out anyway. At the most, you only got 7 games left. At minimum, 4 games. So either you gonna help us win this championship or not, because guess what? You're a big piece, and for you to be a big piece, because one of your teammates is trying to be the face of the league, and he needs all the help he can get because his hands gonna be full dealing with Luka. Jaylen Brown hands gonna be full trying to match Kyrie. You need that third option, and guess what? Ain't nobody on the Mavs in the inside can stick Porziņģis on the offensive end. Which going to add another dynamic to the Boston Celtics offense, which they need. Because you know Luka and Kyrie finna give y'all the business.
Seems to be like finna to use him as like a decoy.
You can do that too.
Yeah.
But when you have a stretch 5 on the court, that's a big difference.
Yeah, you know, just for the sake of debate, I had to. I mean, we can't all agree with everything. It makes this a stale show if we're all up in here agreeing. You know, you gotta admit, I did my best. I did my best out here, all right? You know, you guys are probably gonna win this one, especially in the eyes of the public, but I had to. I had to lay it down the best I could.
I mean, you talking basketball with a basketball guy. So.
I know. And you guys killed it. I mean, I had to set myself up for that one. But I watch a little bit out here in these streams, a little bit, not as much as you guys do, but I know enough. And like you're saying, chilling, watching greatness, calling you guys greatness all up here on this program, making additional greatness to the content. And what's up with the dude hiding the crap? What's up, crap? He probably meant to say something else, but he put the emoji on there.
That's the point of the video that Drew wanted to use so very well.
Hey, Ike said it. I'm just throwing it out there. Sounds good. Just hiding. And crap. I almost did it. I almost said it. But yeah, but he said you sound good. Do you bring him in off the bench to get the team chemistry together?
Yeah, you can bring Porziņģis off the bench. When we say play, we're not saying he goes right back into the starting lineup.
No.
Joe Mazzulla, you the head coach. I want people to understand. Joe Mazzulla, this is your second time being in the finals. Round 1 didn't go as well. It's your second time. And not only that, you're going against a guy who is a champion with the team that he's coaching when he was a player for them. So you need to play chess with him. And those who don't know what I'm talking about Jason Kidd. He was part of that 2011 Dallas Mavericks team that took off and knocked off the Miami Heat.
Very, very true. Very, very true. Because I think is it the first time that's ever happened? Is it the first time that's ever happened where last time a team won a championship, the head coach that was leading that same team back was part of that?
If he does it, he'll be the 8th to do it.
That the team hasn't been back to the NBA Finals since.
He'll be the 8th coach to win a championship with the franchise as a player and coach them to a championship.
Yeah, I get that part, but I'm saying
he hasn't been back since he was the coach.
Yes.
I gotta research on that one.
Yeah, because I feel like I don't recall that in history where like the very next time the same team went back and had a chance to win it at that point, and then especially win it, was because of that same player that became the coach of the team. It's an interesting stat line we'll have to figure out at some point. If we can figure out during the commercial break, we can see and let them know out here in these streams. That's at Playmaker's blog network at Ike Doesn't Give a Fuck. He's in the broadcast protection program, hence concealing his face. Sick Diggy, I call Sick Diggy the Tony Reale of our programming, where he's out there. He brings us the fact checks. So, like, you know, at the end of PTI when they mess up and they have a couple ones that they got to be fact checked on, that's Tony Reale showing up for that. And Sick Diggy is our Tony Reale for all of our programs out here in these streams. And don't forget, subscribe now and never miss out on new content whether you're watching this on Play Caller Sports Talk or here on SIRTOBA Media. That's round 3 for you when it comes to that. Now we got to take it to the by the numbers segment here for round 4.
Round 4.
And here for round 4, Drew Brees is the greatest athlete to ever wear the number 9 in all of sports history. When it comes to that, we'll start this one off with Playmaker. How do you feel about this one? Do you agree with the statement at hand? Is Drew Brees the greatest athlete to ever wear the number 9 in all of sports history?
So, based on the question, it says greatest athlete to ever wear number 9. Okay. So, we talking total career.
Mm-hmm.
My answer, I'm going to give you my one-word answer and but I'm going to give you 2 different reasons. So unfortunately, I'm out. Researching base, you can't do it because when we talking greatest athlete, we're talking all sports. You have names like Reggie Jackson in baseball, Joe DiMaggio in baseball, Cristiano Ronaldo in soccer or football, those of you who are watching over in the European. So doing research-wise and going back to histories of sports in general, I got to say no. For as what I have seen personally with my own eyes, I got to say no, because there's a guy by the name of Tony Parker who was a key factor in that Spurs dynasty, along with Manu Ginobili and Tim Duncan, along with Craig Popovich as a coach. Let's not forget that. I did bring up Cristiano Ronaldo, who was like one of the most famous soccer players of my generation. Let's not forget how many times he was in the headlines for sports. I love Drew Brees. Drew Brees is like my favorite quarterback. What he did in New Orleans, especially after what they went through with Hurricane Katrina, can't find a nicer guy in these worlds. You just can't. But I have to say no, he's not the greatest number 9 to don the 9 jersey in sports history.
Okay. Very, very well said. And just to touch base on this, Tony Parker had 3 championships, right?
4.
Okay. Good to remind me on that one. Okay. So, Cool McCain, do you agree with him as far as being out on Drew Brees and having a different player in mind? Or whether you agree with him on the fact that Drew Brees and you're out, or are you going to say in on Drew Brees being the greatest to wear 9?
I am out. Besides the names that Playmaker named, there's guys like Steve McNair, Miguel Tejada. So a few weeks ago, Rajon Rondo. We had another guy, number 9, Andre Iguodala. Several guys. Then we want to talk about even in baseball. He already, say Rick Jackson, 9 that I would probably put at or near the same level. Ted Williams. I can't forget Ted Williams. We can't forget guys like Joe DiMaggio. And, longer list we can go on with, but I don't think he's the greatest to win. But I think he's a guy that should be recognized. And he means, but he's just not the athlete some of these other guys were. And when you have that, you have to look at it and you have to say, we talked about athlete. He doesn't have as many wins as some of those guys as far as championships or things of that nature. Some of the guys, he has the same amount of, some don't have any, but then he doesn't have the same amount of longevity as some of the guys. Some of the same throughout his career impact as a winner, different things that you can look at and say reasons why he's not maybe number 1. But I don't think you take this guy and you say he's not a top 10, top 15 guy all time to wear number 9, just maybe not the number 1 guy, in my opinion.
Okay. So you disagree with the fact that it's not Drew Brees, and I don't know if it was, I was adjusting my headset for a second. Who did you actually pick for number 9 is your greatest in your opinion? I didn't get that part.
If I had to If I had one guy, I would probably go with Joe DiMaggio.
That's a very, very, very solid choice, I would say. Very, very, very solid choice. So when it comes to that right there, you go Joe DiMaggio.
Because
the playmaker is going to say Tony Parker. And with you got to at least admit, when it comes to Joe DiMaggio, he was a part of 9 World Series. I mean, however, part of it was a little fabricated to an extent, because he was part of a team that had a lot of stars on it.
Yeah, I'm saying Tony Parker based on what I've seen live in person.
What you've seen, okay. So and that's your solid choice that you were rocking with. And Joe DiMaggio, when it comes to the overall history of time, he did wear 9, but it wasn't for his whole career. Joe DiMaggio is famously more known for wearing 5 throughout his career. So, and he won the championships with number 5. So I discredit him, in my opinion, when it comes to that. When it comes to Drew Brees and what he did for football, he did a lot of good things, but at the same time, I don't think he was the greatest to wear 9 in all of sports. I'm going to agree with him and go out.
So let me get this
now.
Straight. Who's your number 1 again? Who's your number 1?
It's different than your choices, because basketball, very physical sport. Comes cardio, run up and down the court, scoring points. That's cool. Your choice, baseball, very physical game as well, because I've played it and still a player coach for an adult baseball team. So I know exactly what it's like to play baseball, especially in your later career, and pull things off. But one thing, we're going to talk about a very physical sport that's not even football. Talk about hockey, and especially back in this time period that I'm going to refer to, because there wasn't as many rules. There's a lot more fights and a lot more things that could go wrong in serious situations there. I'm going to go with a player that played for 33 years. Yes, you heard that right. 33 years. It's pretty badass to play 33 years and wear the number 9 throughout the entirety of that career. Played in 1,767 NHL games, 801 goals, 1,050 assists. His career highlights: he's inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame, for Christ's sake. He's a 4-time Stanley Cup winner, a 21-time All-Star out of those 33 seasons, which in hockey, it's hard to become an All-Star and to do it in 20-plus seasons during a 32-year career. You got to admit, it's pretty impressive. He's a 6-time Hart Memorial Trophy winner, a 6-time Ross Trophy winner, and he played right wing, which is definitely one of the most physical positions in the game of hockey. Looking outside of that, if you took Gordie Howe off the list, you got to look at somebody else who played for, almost 20 years in himself too, and that's Maurice Richard, who played in 978 games, 544 goals, and 422 assists. He's also part of the Hockey Hall of Fame, but won 8 Stanley Cups, leading his teams to those 8 Stanley Cups. 14-time All-Star, and is from Montreal, Canada. And when you look at all that being said, even though hockey is pretty much heavily ran in Canada, and we do have it here in the NHL, certain teams here in the States, you got to give the respect to somebody who plays for 33 years, guys. 33 years. The man played from 1947 to 1980, spanning in 5 different decades in the game of hockey. It's pretty badass. That's my pick for number 9. What do you guys have to say to that?
I mean, I could throw another name in there that we failed to mention.
With Ted Williams?
No, but Ted Williams is part of that. Ted Williams can't be part of that list. I'm a basketball guy, but there's a certain woman who wore number 9 and was dominating in the WNBA. Anybody remember Lisa Leslie?
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I love Drew Brees. Drew Brees was like my favorite quarterback. But we talking about greatest, we can throw a good amount of names up there.
No, you really could. You really could. I agree with that. It's just when I judge mine, I think about the physicality of the sport. For one, I think about the duration of time in the sport. What's that?
I knew that was your pick. I knew that was your pick.
You knew I was going to go Gordie Howe.
Yep. And I also knew you would say, oh, but DiMaggio didn't wear number 9 his whole career. But that wasn't part of the discussion. The discussion was the greatest player to wear number 9. Just like number 45, because he wore number 45. He didn't say he had to wear it for a certain amount of time. He just said he had to wear the number.
You're pulling a James Brown on me. James Brown did this like episode 45.
I told you start the show. You put the Monarchs together. You should already know. We know what the question says.
I know. I know you're well informed on it, but you can't fault me for going with Gordie Howe, somebody who played for 30 years and spent a 5 decades.
But when you phrase the question the way that you phrase it, that says, okay, this is the way you put this in.
I could be a little loose with my interpretation.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you can. But then it can be argued about the amount of time that he wore that number. It's kind of like saying Michael Jordan, the greatest to wear 45, but he wore for 14 games or something?
But he still wore it.
Still did, yeah. But that doesn't mean he had greatness. And I think about what they did with the
number. Greatest to wear 5 numbers,
He will not be the greatest to wear 6. That's Bill Russell.
He won't be the greatest to wear 23 either.
Oh, yeah. I know that too. He should have changed to something else a long time ago. It was him being dumb to try to think that he could outdo Jordan with the number, but I digress. That's another topic for another day. But no, you guys bring great points to it. I bend the knee to your choices, and especially trying to finagle the fact that, he wore the number at some point. Congratulations. All right. The duration of time means everything in my book. So,
but I know how this works. Football is king in America. So Drew Brees played football. We want to, he played the hardest, but no.
And think about it. We're talking about guys that played like me and Drew's guys, D. Willie's guys. They played a little further back in the day. So there are some people who didn't see them and may not be as much of a historian and understand the impact of these guys when they played. So
that's why I brought up. That's why I brought up the first part. When you do research, you can't say yes because the names that we mentioned: Reggie Jackson, Joe DiMaggio.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are going to argue against Joe DiMaggio because he played in the dead ball era. If you really can consider in comparison to other players that we mentioned playing at more modern times. So, I totally get where you guys are coming from. But let us know here in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys agree with either one of us with our picks, or do you have somebody completely different than what we said on the list? It looks like Sick is saying that Ronaldo you're referring to is Brazilian and is known as O Fenomeno, the phenom in Portuguese.
You may be right, because that type of football is not a sport that I really able to dive in like that. You may be right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I seen Bernardo's name and I'm like, well, that's I already know that. I know the name because that name has been mentioned a lot.
Mm-hmm. Definitely has, especially in the game of football. But definitely great answers for that. And we've got one more round that we got to get to, but one more commercial break before we get to that and rounding it all out. See you guys here on the other side.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason.
In a world where chronicles of the past are brought to the streams, whether the content is relatable or completely beyond your realm of life, there is no shadow of a doubt that this show is absolutely full of shenanigans. Get ready for
D. Willie in the Evening.
This Sunday at 10:05 p.m. Eastern.
Exclusively on SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. Whether it's news, The largest egg producer finds bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant. Weather. Devastating tornadoes rip through the heart of the United States. Inspiration. A breast cancer survivor completed the journey of chemotherapy and now begins a future one of matrimony or sports. Michael Jordan is shown on a photo with Diddy. LeBron James has a video extolling the virtues of a Diddy party. This has been yet another Beating a Dead Horse presentation. We got you covered. BS3 Network proudly presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. Live every weekday morning beginning April 29th at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. Oh, yes. The tradition, the pageantry, the spectacle, the history, the slut. Wait. I gotta rep my brother's stuff right. All my DMV soldiers, stand up! And welcome to the Commander's Gridiron Report. You want your commanders to be repped right? Well, D. Willie is your man. Commander's Gridiron Report. Every Tuesday at 11:05 a.m. Eastern, 10:05 a.m. Central on the SIRTOBA Media YouTube channel. Music by J. Cool.
Where my soldiers, right side, commanders. Where my soldiers, left side, commanders.
Welcome back to Total Times out here with the In or Out Sports Debate. When it comes to these gentlemen right here, we got Cool McCain and the Playmaker Darnell Sallins here for episode 109, and it is time that we get ready for some more action. And with that, I got a surprise for him.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Surprise is this. Got a bonus topic. Easy one, though, when it comes to the bonus round. Roman Reigns returns at WWE Summerslam Premium Live event. Start this one with the Playmaker. Are you in or are you out on this one?
Oh, he did this to us on purpose.
Facts.
He did this to us on purpose. Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to be out. I'm out for one reason only. This new bloodline hasn't developed enough to where it threatens a Roman Reigns return. If we go on by the storyline that we perceive that's going on out here on these media platforms, right? We're looking for a bloodline civil war, right?
Yep.
At this moment in time, why should he return? Why should he be scheduled to return to SummerSlam? We haven't seen nothing yet. The only thing that the new bloodline has done is beat up Kevin Owens. They got a little promo going with Street Profits, but there's no real threat right now. We got three guys who can be deadly, who can be dangerous, but they haven't put the step on the WWE yet.
Okay. Cool McCain. How do you feel about this one? Are you going to agree with them on this? Are you going to go out? Or are you going to disagree? Or are you going to go in?
I'm going to go in.
Here it is.
So for everything that we've seen so far, they're setting up SummerSlam to be like the number 2 PLE behind WrestleMania, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get extra interest, extra eyes on this product? You have the tribal chief Roman Reigns make an appearance at SummerSlam. Does that mean he's going to be on every week? Absolutely not. Does that mean he's going to insert himself heavily into the bloodline story? He doesn't have to do any of that. He just needs to show up, have a little conversation with Paul. Maybe Paul Heyman's coming out of the room with him. You see Solo go into the room, a little conversation. He sees a couple of people in the back, does some interactions, and he's out. Maybe shows up to the ring, does acknowledge me, talks to the crowd for a moment. I've been gone, but I'll be back soon. But I wanted to come out and let everybody know, don't forget about your tribal chief, right? Or something like that. But him actually getting into a storyline, no, it's not time for that yet. But again, you want stuff to make sense. You want to have pay-per-views. Excuse me, I'm still a pay-per-view guy. Premium live events that people want to see, they want to buy, they want to, build towards and make it as big as possible. You got to have your biggest stars there. Roman Reigns is the biggest missing star right now. So having him show up, even if it's just for one night, makes all the sense in the world for SummerSlam.
Okay, so we got a split decision right here. Got the Playmaker saying out. We got Cool McCain saying in. We are down to another spot here in the show where it's all down to me to make the decision. And two of you bring up some great points, but I'm stuck in this spot again where I got to agree with Cool McCain. I'm in. Cool brings some really good points, and paying attention to how things have trended, the WWE, and how they have set things up, especially with marketing for shows. That's a typo, and unless I'm a little bit behind on my updates, the last time I checked, the SmackDown before SummerSlam, Roman Reigns is advertised to be on the show. He's on the graphic for that particular live event for that SmackDown. So unless they have failed to update their graphic, or unless I, in my memory banks, haven't, registered the fact that maybe they did, that's what's currently at slate when it comes to that SmackDown right ahead of SummerSlam. Now, to me, I would think that it might be a typo, because why would you bring Roman Reigns in right before SummerSlam when he's not going to be doing anything from WrestleMania on? I see Playmaker's point in building the bloodline up and, maybe waiting for it to culminate after the new year where they start the Civil War, because it might in time feel like they would rush some things if they started at SummerSlam. But, just because Roman returns at SummerSlam and potentially the SmackDown after SummerSlam doesn't mean he's going to be there every single week. I feel like we're going to have something similar to the part-time Roman again. He's not going to be challenging right away for the championship. He's going to be partaking in this bloodline civil war one way or another, and potentially recruiting other members within the family, whether it's bringing back the Usos together and them running together and getting Paul Heyman with them, or bringing in other members who were out there on the indies that we all know about. Is potential that we could see that. But I think that he does return at SummerSlam, because you can't have Roman sit out for too long, especially with the way things ended at WrestleMania. And if you want to continue to build the bloodline, you can only do it even better if you do it creatively with Roman Reigns and this bloodline civil war to make bigger stars out of everybody involved and have them spread around between Raw and SmackDown afterwards, once we have this moving of Raw to Netflix, and then we have SmackDown moving from Fox to USA in place of where Raw was, just on a different night. So putting all that in perspective, I mean, I see where you're coming from, Playmaker. I agree with a lot of what Cool said, but I had to throw my own little twist in there as to why I think Roman Reigns will be there at SummerSlam. What do you think?
Now, to Drew's point, and it's a point that a lot of people tend to forget. There's a little smaller rating when they do these promos, right? When they promo these shows. Simple words. Card subject to change. Let's not forget that. We tend to forget that part, because we enthralled in storylines and what's card subject to change has always been there. Now, I would say this: the only way that I can see Roman Reigns returning at SummerSlam, not just because of what Cool said, because Cool does make good points, but I would put it like this. When Paul Heyman was talking to Solo, right? And Paul Heyman was trying to tell Solo the target should be Cody Rhodes. And Solo said, oh no, we already got the target on Cody Rhodes. And Paul put that question, who is we? Because me and Cool believe it's not Roman Reigns, that's the we. It's somebody else. So if that somebody else is going to show up at SummerSlam, then I'm on board with y'all.
Yeah, I didn't word it as Jacob Fatu on purpose because I didn't want all of us to be in on it. Because I figured at that point, if I did word it as Jacob Fatu, we would all be in on it. So I tried to go outside the box as much as I could on the fly to give us a bonus round question that I thought about while we were on a commercial break.
I'm gonna tell you like this, Drew. Jacob Fatu name is not the only name that I threw in that hat.
Oh, you got someone else out there. Okay. Well, like Zilla Fatu?
He's in that hat's in there too.
Okay.
But remember, there was an awkward moment on the Raw after WrestleMania. And he did say, "I'll see you soon."
Oh, yeah. When he handed it back, I said about the breaking the heart part. Yeah, I'm picking up what you're throwing down. So you with The Rock, yeah, being the leader of this side of the bloodline, I'm picking up what you're throwing down and where the pieces have been dropped out there.
We don't know who is the we when Solo said we, because Paul Heyman don't even know.
I just don't think that his schedule is going to be open enough for that at that point, though.
Yeah, I think
here's the thing.
Yeah,
because the Rock don't win on Pat McAfee. He don't win on first thing he said. He can literally come back to WWE when he really wants to. It's literally up.
Oh yeah. I mean, UFL will be over at that point. We've got the conference championships this upcoming weekend, and then the following week you got the actual UFL championship. So that obligation, but it's not like he has full hands in depth in that because he's got other people like his ex-wife and other people that run it. He's just mainly like the personality who gets to cash in the fact of being a part owner. But this movie of him doing that MMA movie with all the training and everything, it seems like it's taking a lot of time between the training and actually filming the movie. They're not going to be done with that movie by the time SummerSlam rolls around. I would highly doubt it, even though they film movies at a faster pace than they did 10, 15 years ago now with the advancements of technology and the way they can schedule things. But I just don't think that he'll be available for that. And if so, it's going to be a one-night appearance. And they would have, I don't know how it would be impactful of enough for The Rock to return at SummerSlam for us to really get geared up about. I'm with you on that. Cool. Like, I see where you're going with that, Playmaker. It's definitely a very, very creative thought to have for it. I disagree.
I'm just saying we don't know who we is.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it could be you're thinking about Zilla Fatu. I was thinking about Jacob Fatu. Like the others out there.
That's what we
is. You got Juicy Fano, like you got also Lance. You got Lance and Hawaii, the cousin up there. So
one of the ones at his shows.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Just saying, I'm not saying who exactly is because I don't know. I just giving you some names. Like we don't know who we is.
Yeah. The next person that we need to show up for this new blood is the Samoan werewolf. That's what we need to show up next. Because everybody else, they show up. It's like, okay, cool. But the biggest pop is gonna be when he come out.
Facts.
That's your pop.
He's gonna get a bigger. He's gonna get a bigger pop than Tongas.
He probably will. And to be honest, and I give credit to WWE to bring in Tonga. That was smart.
Yeah, I don't think
nobody had him on the docket.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Zilla can come to WWE either. Rikishi was saying in one of the six comment that you'll put up in a minute, I'm sure. Rikishi was even like Zilla needs probably 3 more years before he's gonna be ready for like WWE.
Oh, it was Zilla. Okay.
There's a lot of guys they could bring in, but I think the only one that's gonna be a pop, like the one that's gonna be like, he's here. That's it. Right. The other guys, you see him like, okay, that's fine. Like you're not mad at me there, but you want the pop. You want to get news talking. You want to get people talking. You want to get talking heads talking. You want to get people like me and Playmaker taking segments of our show and saying, we're going to talk about this one guy. Tell me it's not Jacob Fatu. That's all I'm saying.
No, facts.
Yeah, that's definitely fact. Because he's either him or The Rock. Because if The Rock come back, especially after Cody Rhodes, whoever he faces at some.
But even The Rock, you know that was happening. Like it already was like 100% verified that it was happening, and he's been back 80 times. So while it's great when he comes back, it's not that first time anticipation, right?
Very true.
We're the mass media, the mass wrestling fans are Jacob Fatu versions. And your cherry only gets popped one time.
That's a great place to put it. That's why I didn't put his name, because I figured if I put his name as the one, we would all be in, and there'd be very little chance of at least one of us disagreeing, and it worked out by doing it the way that we did. But y'all brings a lot of great strong points to it. Mickey Delaney's in the house saying, "Sorry, I'm late." Well, Mick, we appreciate you being here with us in the house. Thank you for tuning in.
You knew what you were doing, Drew, because this is what we do.
Oh, facts. It's the whole point. Stirring it up a little bit, stirring the pot out here in these streams a little bit. Six says, I've got the WWE Network, so I don't need to purchase the PLE. I mean, we don't have to purchase it either because it's all part of Peacock. $2.99 a month. I think that's what I pay for. It's not bad. Subscribe now again, as always. And I don't think Zilla for 2 can do what?
I have free 99 spot.
Oh yeah, you have the one without the commercials, probably. Yeah, I don't have the one without the commercials, but. Six says, I don't think Zilla Fatu can be signed to WWE. He still has some legal restrictions. He's still training at Booker T's school. So very, very solid point along the lines of what Cool was saying about it's going to be a little while before we see Zilla, and that's probably why Rikishi said that. Six says there's also Manu. Yes, Manu, a.k.a. Alpha Jr. There's also Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa's brother. How do you say that? Because I don't think I've seen him. Do you know how to say that name at the end there, Cool or Playmaker? Hikuleu? Hikuleu? Okay.
Hikuleu.
But if I want to say Manu, aka Alpha Jr., was around retirement or was considering retirement the last time I heard. He either was retiring, was considering retirement, or it was just like a thought. Like I could be wrong with Alpha Jr., but that's somewhere I'm thinking that. I don't know why, but that could be potential for him too. But Hikuleu is a giant, and like his brother, is no longer under contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling. And Sick is definitely a Tony Reality great source for things like that too, because Sick follows NJPW and a lot of the the underground stuff that not the typical person is going to be in tune with. You guys definitely are with Monarchs Pro Wrestling, myself to a degree too. Not as much as you guys are when it comes to the indie stuff, but WWE, AEW, TNA, we could talk about that for hours. But in New Japan, and stuff like that. Anything outside of the realms, I need to up my game a little bit on. I would have to say, but with that bonus round, it's a pretty good curveball to throw out there for my dudes right here. We got one more round to get to, and that is now the final round.
Final round.
Final round. Uncle Howdy will not return at SummerSlam. Start this one off with you there, Cool. What do you think about this one right here? Think Uncle Howdy will not return at SummerSlam? Are you in on that, or are you out on this one?
I'm in. Because I think we're going.
There he is.
I think we're going to get Uncle Howdy a little bit before SummerSlam. I know you follow the things that's saying, sometime this month in June that he should be back. If you go and you watch the different things that they have people that actually take the time to go and watch the different things and place them together and tell you what they're saying and all this are supposed to be saying. So I think it's going to be a little bit before then. So I'm in on him not coming back at SummerSlam because I think he'll already be back before SummerSlam. But if he's not, it makes sense. But I don't think they're going to wait that long. They didn't wait that long when they brought Rest His Soul Bray Wyatt back. So I think we're about in that time where they're going to get here sometime in the next few weeks. We're going to see at least Uncle Howdy back on WWE program.
Okay. So you disagree with this one and think that he will be here. So when it comes to that, Playmaker, are you going to agree with Cool? Are you going to be out on this one? Or are you going to be in and think that Uncle Howdy doesn't come back at SummerSlam?
I agree with my co-host. I'm in. And it mainly the reasons my co-host said we most likely gonna get him sooner than SummerSlam. Or is my thinking is wherever you debut the Y6 piece at a time. just a piece at a time. We don't know who's going to be all part of the Wyatt Six. These are the people that we believe that's going to be part of it. That there's no confirmation. So maybe at one point you have Alexa Bliss there or Nikki Cross here. Then, SummerSlam, you probably get Eric Rowan and Dexter Loomis to come out and, cause some chaos, and we don't know who they with or where Uncle Howdy at and all this stuff. Just the tease. WWE dudes like to do the cliffhangers once in a while. So SummerSlam could be a cliffhanger for us when it comes to the Wyatt Six.
Okay. All right. So, with this one at hand, Uncle Howdy will not return at SummerSlam. You guys are saying in because you don't think he's just not going to show up at all. You think that he is going to show up before because of all the barcodes and all the stuff that we're getting now. It's like we're getting so much now on all the shows, even into tonight's Raw, that, you think about, the more that they do it, the closer we're getting. But, the one thing that we know about Triple H is the long-term storytelling. So I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to say I'm going out. I'm going to disagree and say that he will show up at SummerSlam, for partial reasons for the sake of debate, for one, but also for two, we got the Clash at the Castle, but besides that, we don't have any other big events for Uncle Howdy to really debut at prior to SummerSlam. And they could do it there because it is still far enough out to where they could do that. And it would make even more special moments for the night. But unless they don't have Roman or The Rock or anything big with the bloodline happening at SummerSlam, I feel like SummerSlam would need Uncle Howdy, to show up there. But as far as will not, because the way I worded the question with me going out, I think he is going to show up at SummerSlam. I think that's like the best way to get it going. You're at SummerSlam, you're running the Fireflies, you get the lights out, all out on a summer night, ready to rock and roll. And that's what you're doing with your characters there for Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six. And yes, those are people that we think could be associated with the Wyatt Six. Is very highly reported in the rumor mill that a bunch of these characters affiliated within this graphic are going to be part of the Wyatt Six. They do throw us curveballs. Alexa Bliss has already been part of the stable before. They could be throwing us a curveball with Nikki Cross, considering that she was released by WWE, but who knows? You can always be re-signed, brought back, and get worked back into the mix. But the others definitely have a really good, strong case for it. And one of them could definitely play in the Sister Abigail character. Who knows? It could be playing all the characters of Bray Wyatt's creations within his mind and what he showed us over the years. So for the sake of debate, for the sake of everything within this show, and for that topic, I had to disagree to make things interesting there at the end.
You did say long storytelling, right?
Was that? Yeah, the long-term storytelling. So I mean, SummerSlam. So yeah,
like I said, bit by bit, you got one show up, cause some chaos. What's going on here? Don't hear nothing. Then somebody else pop on you. What? See, I think SummerSlam could be the point where you get that clip and it's like, he might not have showed up, but you can feel it's about to erupt.
Yep. I mean, he very, very much could. I mean, but will not return at SummerSlam. I had to go out because I think that he will return at SummerSlam. Is like you said, it's the long-term storytelling. Have the other Wyatt Six members interfere, but Uncle Howdy returning at SummerSlam being part of the question. Whether the other pieces are going around yet to build towards it, that's one thing, and I see your point with that. But Uncle Howdy himself, in my opinion, will not reappear until SummerSlam. We'll see how it goes.
Uncle Howdy's going to be first.
What's that?
He has to be first. Uncle Howdy has to be first, and that's going to be before SummerSlam.
You may be right, and we could definitely revisit this and say that you called it spot on. Just got to go for the sake of debate, my man. Got to make these interesting out here. But also, that's what I want as a fan, too, to keep building on that
Just let
story.
y'all know either I'm going to be right or Cool going to be right, but we both don't be wrong.
Facts. I mean, I have no problem being wrong for the sake of debate for entertainment. So people can have some qualms, pick at me a little bit. I have no problems with that. Cool McCain.
Oh, I know you don't. I'm just letting you people know when it comes to Mars Wrestling, one of us gonna be right.
One of us, yeah. And
one of us gonna be right.
It could be one of the two of y'all. It could surprise you.
I don't think
me
it's never been a moment when both of us were wrong.
This could be a first time for everything. The streams are going to remember this. We'll come back to the streams moment. Yes, the streams will remember this. We'll come back to it. I'll own it if I'm wrong, but it's worth it. Let's talk about it out of here in the streams. We got one more thing we got to acknowledge before we get on out of here shortly, and that is the Vault of Fame inductions again.
Acknowledge me.
That's right. We're back for the In-Or-Out Sports Debate Vault of Fame. It's time to induct again Cool McCain for the second time. He is now a Vault of Fame inductee. Give it up for my man right here, Cool McCain, inducted into the Vault of Fame once again, a two-time Vault of Fame inductee. And let's not leave out his counterpart on the Monarchs of Wrestling. Now the Playmaker is locked in the vault for the first time. We'll have to do this again, most definitely. But both of them are now re-inducted for Cool and for the first time for the Playmaker into the Vault of Fame. We got to take a look at that unit real quick as the numbers are stacking up with last week's appearance, 2 weeks ago's appearance of Hugh Scott in the custom guy, Brandon Guy. Hugh Scott moves up into number 4 as far as the 4 times being on the list. 5 tied for as far as the 5th place for all total appearances on this show, which you can find on Facebook, Instagram, and X, as well as primarily on YouTube for the live streams. Everything else will be clipped out and chopped up for the other networks there. And you can find The Struggle Is Real to Be Awesome on those platforms. Again, don't forget about that commercial earlier. Talked about throwing a little tippy here for the Willie Bucks. Some Cash App. If you want to throw a little tippy, I appreciate it. If you want to. If you can't, I understand. It's hard out here in these streets. But if you appreciate this production right here, nothing's free out here in these streams. You got to pay a little bit to get ahead. So, hey, throw that Willie Buck. Throw that 10 spot. Is my face really on that 10 spot? No. It's an old face. The new face will tell you can still throw that 10 anyway. Don't forget, earlier today we had Total Football Talk episode 40 that you can find on Comey Media, as well as on this platform on SIRTOBA Media. You can go back and check out the latest in UFL, NFL, and a preview for week 1 in CFL. We talked about the belt earlier today. Every belt has a story is now available from last night, episode 23 of D. Willie and the Even. Look at that dude right there with those long, luscious locks. Big sexy in the house, Kevin Nash. Not Kevin Nash. It's just me with the hair, but with the SIRTOBA Media Championship. You can go back and check that out. That's also now available right now. Before we round it on out, we're here for episode 109 of the In-Or-Out Sports Debate with Cool McCain, Playmaker himself, and myself. Guys, we got one more thing we got to do, and that is take it into the final word. And here for the final word, guys, out of everything we talked about on this show, is there anything that came to your mind after we talked about those topics that you wanted to add to, or anything in sports life in general that you want to, go ahead and start it all out with? We'll take it to Cool first to lead the way. What he wants to say for the final word.
Clark sexuals, calm down. Relax, breathe. If you're new to the WNBA, learn your history and then start complaining. Hard fouls have been happening for years. You haven't been watching, so you don't know, right? But just relax. As Diana Taurasi and multiple stars have said, most people, if you're not named Candace Parker, you struggle when you come into the WNBA or when you go to any professional league. You don't come in normally and get an MVP and be one of the better players. It takes time. So relax and allow her to grow and develop. The more people talk about her, push her, say good things or bad things about her, that's not going to make it even easier for her. But there's 2 quick points that people need to realize. Her teammates are not sticking up for her, and she finally said she's going to have to get more physical. Those are the 2 things that we need to understand. I love the WNBA this season, and I am very happy that all the people are watching. But what I would like for you to do when you're watching, instead of just watching the Indiana Fever, because there's so many other teams in the WNBA, look at the other teams and the players, even when they play the Fever. Respect the other players. Maybe Caitlin Clark isn't going to end up being your favorite player. Maybe somebody else is. Just enjoy what you have and enjoy watching it. Come to the league, watch because you want to see these ladies and these grown women play and become better, and you want to see them expand their game. Support them. That's what they need. Caitlin brought the people there, but now you got to get away from just Caitlin, and you got to watch the league as a whole. There's a lot of other great ladies out there, other rookies, other veteran players. I'm not going to take the time to name them because if you slight somebody, that's wrong, but there's lots of them out there. Pay attention, learn, and enjoy the game. And calm down.
Very, very, very well said. And Cool McCain is always giving love to the WNBA. Like, I remember that.
Why I'm not surprised. Why I'm not surprised.
Yeah, always throwing love to the WNBA.
No, I'm saying why I'm not surprised because I just knew he was going to say that. See, I just knew it. I just was like, bruh.
Take it home, Playmaker. What's your final word in response to Cool?
So, look, he's going to do this Wednesday when he joins me on my show for Shooting Lights Out on Wednesday, okay? He wants 5 minutes to talk about Caitlin Clark, which I'm going to grant. I might have Coach Johnson on there too. He did say yes, but we know how Coach Johnson is when it comes to work scheduling. So we shall see. But enjoy sports. When have you seen this much excitement in sports? The WNBA is taking over sports news right now because the NBA Finals is set, and we already know how much juice is on that bone to pick from. As we talked about earlier with Kristaps Porziņģis. NHL, that's interesting because Connor McDavid trying to get his first cup, and the Florida Panthers trying to win their first cup in franchise history. Not to mention it's an Olympic year too. So in the middle of next month, Team Avengers will be heading to Paris. And yes, that's what we call Team USA Team Avengers because that's how they act. So enjoy sports. It's a great time to be a sports fan. All the crazy debates do need to calm down because it's getting way too out of hand. Enjoy it. Embrace it. Because usually around this time, this is when sports start to die down. It's not this year. So enjoy it.
Another great point thrown out there for the fans and for everybody to think about when it comes to that. And, you know, with my final word, got to light up Cool McCain a little bit when it comes to his Philadelphia Eagles. All right. Been waiting all show for this moment right here. Cool McCain, what is your front office thinking about tampering around with Saquon Barkley before the designated time that you can have conversations with him on the phone out here in these streets? It's going to cost yourself a draft pick somewhere. It might only be a 6th or 7th round draft pick for next year. It'll cost yourself a draft pick. All why? Because you wanted to get the leg up, make sure Saquon had eyes on the Eagles. Saquon was going to have eyes on the Eagles because they play the Giants 2 times a year. Now you just lost another draft pick potentially, or 2, depending on how this investigation goes. And you did all this work just to make sure that this man shows up on your team. What if he flops? What if you got DeMarco Murray all over again? Could it be worth it for the tampering charges? You tell me, as I'll give you a chance to pull the rebuttal out for my final word.
If he does that Wednesday
night. First of all, there has been nothing said that the Eagles actually tampered. There has been from the NFL that the Falcons did tamper, and they would get a severe penalty. If the Eagles tampered, then the Eagles would get. So until they hand down something, I am going to tell you to not be a sensationalized talking head and wait for proof. Because as of now, you have no proof. All you have is your beliefs, and you want us to lose the draft pick. I know you do, and that's okay. Because even if we lose it, it's only going to be a 6th or 7th round pick. And how it screws them up every year anyway. Right? Now, if you're an Atlanta Falcons fan, you may be mad because apparently you did some heavy-duty tampering to get Kirk Cousins, and then you screwed him once you got him there and drafted Michael Penix. So they might have called Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins might have pulled out some receipts to screw you over more.
You see what I did there?
Another quarterback.
You see what I did there? I set the stage for that one.
It is what it is. You did. It is what it is. Hey, if we end up losing the pick, they know better. I do agree with that. And the sad part about it is his first interest destination was Houston. He said it himself, Saquon did. So, if it cost you a 6th pick and you say, well, we had to slide around the back channels because he was about to go sign with Houston. We need him over here in Philly. I mean, as long as he stay healthy.
Like I said, if this thing goes south, Wednesday night's going to be simply
Wednesday night should be
electrifying.
fun.
It's going to be electrifying if this goes south. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, it will be. It will be.
It's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. You're right. And I set the stage up kind of like how you guys were talking about playing games earlier. I set that up for you because I knew you were going to try to sell us on the fact that Kirk Cousins was worse. Granted, yes, it is because of, one, the amount of money they've invested into Kirk Cousins. But for two, and the position. I just think that with Saquon out of the two, like the Falcons desperately needed a quarterback change. I give the Falcons that, but the Eagles, I think, could have gotten by without getting Saquon Barkley this offseason. Is he going to be a big additional piece? But for tampering, like to go after him when you knew you would still have a decent chance in free agency, and didn't Houston get Stephon Diggs before that in the trade? They didn't? Okay. Yeah, that's right. It did come after because I was thinking maybe the salary.
No, that came out. I remember that day because it was on a Friday. And as soon as Pat McAfee show came on, he was not happy.
Oh, yeah. I remember that too because of that with him being a diva and stuff. So, yep. So now you say that. But at the same time, when I put all that in perspective, guys, I got to think about I had to throw that out there for cool with my final word. That was my take on that. And, most importantly, though, thank you all for tuning in for episode 109 of the In or Out Sports Debate with Cool McCain and the Playmaker himself. We've only got one more thing left to do before we get out of here. We got to acknowledge the last bit of comments. Oh, Ike jumped back here. This is going to be great. Oh, wow. I'm a bronze sexual, he says. Wow. I've been kind of quiet with this tonight. It's time to bring these out before we get on out of here.
Ain't nobody care. Who cares? Ain't nobody care.
So you want to come up in here and tell us this there, Ike?
You guys want to hear a fucking story?
Well, we're listening to your story, but we also want to listen to it like this.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Because when we see the words that are coming from your fingertips right now, is all I can say, and it looks like you're not even done yet. That's not even the worst thing.
No, it's not.
It says Braun is the GOAT. Again.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
It's time to summon Bishop Bullwinkle for this bull job.
Hell to the no, no. Hell no, to the no.
You're going to let somebody like LeBron come in here and speak to Jordan like this?
You may claim to be the best in the world, but I'm better than you. And you know it.
Well, cha-ching!
Surprise, motherfucker.
Ain't no way Braun is the GOAT. You're not going to be like that. Stand up tall. Jordan going to tell you this.
Now shut your bitch ass up.
Somebody's going to tell you out here in these streams. This is what he's going to do. Uh-oh. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Now you're trying to throw Booker T into that.
Oh, my brother, testify.
That was for Cool McCain.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
That's what I gotta say to you, Ike. That's what I gotta say. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Get out of here with that noise. Says that's my dog. You talking about us? Or are you talking about your bronze sexual?
What?
Your bronze sexual self.
What?
You came up on my program talking about how you are a bronze sexual.
What?
Oh, yes, you did.
What?
You took it to the extreme, and now it's my turn to take it to the extreme when I click buttons on this program.
What?
Oh!
Yeah. Yeah.
You looking for a place for sports, facts, and shenanigans?
By the way,
You got the right one, baby.
What it is, Playmaker?
WWE Cool is missing pressing his favorite button. All right, so I need to do something when it comes to that guy.
Uh-oh. Apparently, take that back, Cool. You gotta take it back.
Now, that is absurd. Let me talk to you.
Cool ain't gonna take it back.
Cool don't take nothing back.
Yeah, that's why I said let me talk to you. Cool ain't gonna take it back. Like, what are you talking about out here? And 6 says Clark sexuals need their own joy juice.
It's gonna have.
Yeah.
It has a bushy, musky flavor.
Bruh. Is getting crazy.
You got some juice like that running around. You might need to pull this out.
You're tripping about the whole situation. Let me get my husband on the line.
Okay.
Get away from that joy juice, girl.
321, 312. 325. I got one gun run.
If somebody presents you with that joy juice, gun and run. Deal with the charge later. Don't drink the joy juice. Just don't do it. There's also some resexuals in there too.
Apparently not.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking making headlines is Caitlin Clark.
Fact.
Angel Reese made a headline because she decided not to talk to the media after the game.
Yeah.
Very
true. Sometimes it's better to take the fine and not talk than say something.
We'll see, but Sick brings up a point. I mean, as Tony Reality of the programs, I gotta give him credit where it's due. Given how hyped up he gets, Drew Willingham needs a night nurse on standby, preferably a hot one. Yes, hot ones. Sponge bath. Come on up in here. What's up, girl? But not petite brunettes. Name Debbie. No, we're not gonna deal with not little Debbie up in here. No, we're not dealing with that. Not gonna go back to the cakes. We are not going back to that right there. Reese's sexuals are on the down low, the Playmakers blog.
Oh my goodness. Why did he brought up those little Debbie's?
Hey, the commercial that I had a while back, and Sick was on that show.
I got the commercial. That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah, so, you know exactly how it is. Sick was not down with that little Debbie. And even when we talked about the ice cream, exactly.
You see that little smile she got? She got you. That's how you know she got you.
Yeah, I might need to bring that back. We changed the days and the times, so I had to spice it up a little bit with the new one. But thank you guys for commenting. Sick Diggy, Ike, those of you out there who commented through Play Caller Sports Talk. You know, we only got one more thing left to do. First of all, thank you for tuning in. But second of all, look at one badass outro. Everyone, as always, stay safe out here in these streets and these streams.
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
You ain't got to go home, but you got to get your mess up on out of here. Thank you all for tuning in between the major platforms we got this streaming to. Be safe out there. We'll see you next Sunday night, the start of our programming again. Be safe out here in these streets.